Have you been diagnosed with Candida overgrowth, but you're frustrated that your treatments haven't worked? Or have you not been diagnosed, but all of your symptoms like bloating, brain fog, sugar cravings, skin flares, even maybe recurring yeast infections or UTIs keep pointing you back to Candida? Or have you treated Candida before, felt better during the protocol, and then watched everything slowly creep back in and thought, why is this happening again? If you said yes to any of these questions, then this episode is for you. Today we're continuing the Real Root Cause series, where I'm taking conditions that are commonly labeled as root causes and breaking you down to you what their real root causes are. This is super powerful because understanding a fake versus a real root cause is the difference between healing from your symptoms permanently or not. Today's topic is Candida. My hope is that this episode blows your mind and helps you to completely rewire how you think about Candida. Because if you get today's episode, you will understand everything that you need to finally get rid of your Candida. In this episode, I'm breaking down why treating Candida directly with things like diet changes, cleanses, or supplements so often doesn't work and ends up with you doing these again and again, the real root causes that drive Candida to overgrow in the first place, why different people have totally different sets of Candida causes underneath the surface, what testing can actually help you map your problem correctly, and what you need to do so Candida doesn't just disappear for a month and then take over again. And one more thing, I'm doing something new for this entire Real Root Cause series, which is visuals. If you're a visual learner or you want the big picture laid out clearly, go to betterbellytherapies.com/root and download the graphics that go with this episode. Because when you stop fighting Candida like it's your primary enemy and start addressing what's actually feeding it, that's when it stops coming back. Hey friend, welcome to the Better Belly podcast. If you're currently trying endless supplements, doctor visits, and diet changes to heal your mystery symptoms, you are in the right place. We're here to solve the real root causes behind your gut, hormone, skin, sleep, and brain concerns, literally anything and everything in your body. My name is Allison Jordan. I'm a functional medicine practitioner that has supported over 150 clients just like you to heal problems that no one has been able to fix. You don't need a perfect diet or a random supplement you found on Instagram to heal. You need a proven system that heals your whole body from the inside out. That's what I'm here to share with you, episode by episode. It's time to make health easy again. And just as a reminder, this information is not meant to diagnose, manage, or treat disease. Always consult with your own health practitioner before you make any changes to your health. Hey guys, I am so excited for today's podcast episode, and not just today's episode, but for the next 2 months, we're going to be doing a podcast series that I would like to call the real root causes of, I don't know, Instagram or something. I'm thinking of like the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, but real root causes, and breaking down what are all eight different, it's not all of them, but 8 common things that are called root causes that are definitely not root causes. I'm going to break down how this happens and why it's possible that people are calling things, like today's episode is on Candida, why people can call this a root cause, and it kind of sounds like it is, like it's compelling, like, yeah, that sounds like a real root cause, and I'm going to show you why it's not, and what are the actual root cause, because anytime you have something that's not a real root cause, it does still exist. As I am saying, Candida still exists. Definitely not saying it's like not a thing. You can't, that it's fake or made up. What we are saying is it's not the actual a root. It is kind of like, if we're thinking about on the scale of things, it is still a plant that you can like see above ground. It might be close to the ground or close to the root, but it's not the actual root. It's still technically a result. It's like an outcome of the real root causes. So that's what we're going to be going through. Today's Candida, I'm going to be revealing what the other episodes are as we go through this episode, because I try to make them flow and have connections. And also for today, I'm doing something new that I've never done before, which is adding visuals to this. And I realize that you guys are listening to a podcast. We currently don't it's not in our current system to put the visual side of our recording onto places like YouTube. And so what I'm doing is I'm taking all the visuals that I'm drawing today, drawing on my iPad. We're actually going to be taking a screenshot and then adding them into a document that you can download. And so as of you listening, that this visual, this graphic is complete. So just go to betterbellytherapies.com/root, betterbellytherapies.com/root. If you want to go and grab these visuals that go with these podcast episodes. And it'll probably actually already have all the graphics for the upcoming episodes, at least for the next month, in it. So you'll get to see, maybe you won't even listen to the podcast episodes. I hope you do. I think they're really good walkthroughs, and they'll definitely have additional information that the visuals will not. The visuals will have a really good summary of what we talked about. And if you're a visual learner like me, you're just going to generally love it. So without further ado, I'm going to break out on my recording here, and hopefully one day these get added to YouTube. It's just like a whole other process to get onto YouTube. But we are recording it with a visual, so maybe one day you will be watching me draw this as I go through it. All right. I'm going to try and describe what I'm drawing too, just in case you're like driving, you're not looking at the graphic right now. But here's Candida. So Candida is not a root cause. What is it? Let me draw in my handy dandy thing here. How does this even happen? What I want to describe is how some doctor tells you have root cause. What happens is you come in and you see some practitioner. I don't really care what kind, and they listen to your symptoms and they say, let's do some testing. Maybe they don't even say, let's do some testing. Maybe they're just like, sounds like you have Candida. And you're like, ooh, that's a pathogen yeah. And they'll even tell you Candida correlates with bloating or brain fog or sugar cravings. And you'll be like, yeah, that sounds a lot like my symptoms. Candida, that's got to be my root cause. But what happens, and the number one sign that you are not dealing with a true root cause, is you go through the whole process of trying to heal the sucker. For Candida, you might do a Candida diet, a Candida cleanse, Candibactin AR/BR. You do go through some type of protocol that might include some diet changes or supplements. And oftentimes the story that I hear is, and then I felt good. I felt good during my protocol or during while I was doing this work. But then what will happen, and the sign that it is the reason you can say it's not a root cause, is that you feel better on the protocol, and then sometime after finishing changing your diet, like you're no longer on the Candida diet, or you're no longer taking Candibactin AR/BR, whatever your process had been, sometime after it could be literally the next day that you stop doing it, could be several weeks, several months, but at some point your symptoms come back, and they're usually very similar. So the bloating, whatever it had been that you associated your Candida with, maybe skin issues, acne, eczema, maybe PMS, a lot, maybe oral thrush that keeps recurring, UTIs that keep recurring, whatever your symptoms are that you're associating with your Candida, you then are like, oh my gosh, they're back. I have Candida again. What's happening? That is a sign you didn't really get rid of it. And once you think about, if you have weeds in your garden, at least I remember this as a girl, my parents putting me to work, putting my brothers and sisters and I to work on the weeds in our yard. And they would say, pull it up from the root. If you don't pull a weed up from the root, it just grows back. And that's what's happening, is that you're kind of plucking off the top of the plant and saying, look, the plant's gone. I'm healed. We dealt with it. And then it grows back, and you feel like, well, I just need a stronger protocol. I need a better protocol. I'm going to do the Candida diet again. I'm just going to do another round of Candibactin AR/BR, or I'm going to interview practitioners to say, well, what stronger supplement can you give me than Candibactin AR/BR that gets rid of it? And the issue is you will keep getting stuck in that cycle of treating Candida and it coming back unless you start working with a practitioner who starts looking at the deeper root causes, which means not even looking at Candida itself. So let's just talk about it. So here in the middle, or here at the top, we always have, like, these are going to be yours. Well, guys, clearly I'm not as practiced in using this as I plan to be. Okay. We have your symptoms. And so you have your symptoms of Candida, might be, I already mentioned, like oral thrush, UTIs, especially when they're recurring. Bloating's a big one, especially if it gets worse through the day. Big sign of Candida. Oxalate sensitivity. If you've ever worked with somebody who knows what that is, if you don't know what it is, go check out episode 148 of the Better Belly podcast. We'll have it in the show notes, and you'll learn more about oxalates, sugar and carb cravings. So here's all your this is your top line. If you have the top, if we're talking about plants here, top of the plant is your symptoms. That's everything you can see most clearly. Then you have your fake root cause, Candida. Some practitioner says, I did a test. Maybe it was muscle testing. Maybe it was a stool test, urine test. I did a test and there's Candida there. And they seem so proud of themselves. I'm so sorry. I don't know what these situations are like, but they seem so proud of themselves. I found Candida, and you think, wow, you're a genius. You found the root cause, and it's not. Now, something to be very clear about these fake root causes, both for today and for the upcoming weeks, is they all can create their own symptoms. Truly, like Candida overgrowth will create its own symptoms that are unique to Candida. But it doesn't mean it's the root cause. It's just additional symptoms on top of your other real root causes. When you deal with the real root causes, you don't get Candida overgrowths that keep coming back. Mic drop. When you deal with your real root causes, you don't get Candida that keeps coming back. And real quick before we jump in to start drawing them out here, that every person who has Candida or any of these fake root causes we're going to be going through, they have different combinations of these real root causes under them. So we're going to be talking through today. I've got 5 real root causes written out, and you could have 10 people that in the Better Belly Blueprint working on Candida, but all 10 of them have different combinations of these, what they do and don't have of these real root causes. So that's why the deeper testing still is relevant. And yes, you can get testing for Candida to be like, is it there or not? Because then if I see Candida, you want to be thinking about these deeper root causes, which we do inside of our Better Belly Blueprint, which if you're not familiar with it, just go to betterbellytherapies.com/blueprint. You can learn more about it there. You'll probably learn more about it as I talk through here, but here they are. Number 1, you're going to have low stomach acid. Low stomach acid is one of the real root causes of Candida. And I just realized that you guys can't see it super well. There you go. So I'm going to the next episode after this week is going to be all on low stomach acid and its root causes, because I bring it up a ton. It's really relevant to issues like acid reflux and bloating and constipation and Candida and SIBO. Gnarly stuff there. Candida and SIBO. It's super crucial for so many things that are common with gut health issues, and where people are just like, I'm stuck on PPIs for acid reflux, or my constipation medicine doesn't work, or you want to be thinking about, do you have low stomach acid? So it's not actually its own root cause. It is a result. So imagine little things coming out. Like there's more root causes. We're going to talk about that next week. So if you are not already subscribed to the podcast or in our email list, I highly recommend going to betterbellytherapies.com/subscribe, and you can get on our email list and we will notify you. You'll get notifications straight inside your email inbox when we have new episodes coming out and what they are. So that's going to be Better Belly Therapies. Probably shouldn't even write this out on here because handwriting's not the best. All right. betterbellytherapies.com/subscribe, or just subscribe on your podcast, whatever podcast platform you listen to, so that'll be next week. And I hate that the first one is this way. But it is the first one I always want someone to be thinking about. And so, definitely subscribe for next week, because I'm going to be talking about things like what type of test, like an at-home test you can do to test just get a general idea if you have low stomach acid. I love it. But I only mentioned it first, not to just feel like I'm not sharing information with you guys, but because it is the first thing. I don't think I've ever met someone who doesn't have low stomach acid when they have Candida. And the solution to low stomach acid, by the way, just a safety thing, is not to suddenly just drop acid in your stomach, whether that's like lemon juice or apple cider vinegar or betaine HCl. It might help, but it might make things worse because of the root causes that low stomach acid has. You just want to be aware of those things, especially if you're on like PPIs already. There's safe ways to do that, to get off PPIs. And I'm going to dive more into that in next week's episode on low stomach acid. But that's number one, Candida, low stomach acid. Number two is going to be slow motility. And you know what? I'm going to decide right now. I've never done this on a podcast episode. I'm deciding right now, and I'm going to release it with this recording, that I'm going to release this Candida episode after low stomach acid episode and after slow motility, which is the next one, because I don't want to cause frustration with you guys. Slow motility is its own root cause, meaning slow motility you might be familiar with it if you've been diagnosed with constipation. It's a very, very common phrase to bring up. Some doctor, you're asking, doctor, why do I have constipation? And they say, because you have slow motility. It's also a fake root cause, guys. It's a fake root cause. Your body just doesn't have random slow motility. It has slow motility because of other deeper issues, right? So you have little branches going off. Think the roots just keep getting deeper and deeper. We are finding a way to pull the roots out from the very, very bottom. So we're having a whole episode in 2 weeks was the plan, but it will release before this episode. So I'll just put a link in the show notes to our slow motility episode. Another big reason for Candida. And what it is, slow motility is where the gut moves very slowly. It's a genius description, Allison. The actual muscles of your digestion tract are not moving at a more normal rate. There's actually an acceptable rate or a common rate we see in people with normal or typical digestion tracts, how long it takes for food to get from the stomach to the small intestine, the large intestine, the colon to out of your body. That has a normal rate of movement. And not only can the process be slow, but it can also be intermittent or dysfunctional, where like maybe it's basically spasming in random spots rather than, you kind of almost want like the gut tube to be squeezing in a way that it's like someone squeezing toothpaste from top to bottom and squeezing everything out of the toothpaste. But some people's digestive tracts become dysfunctional, where if you imagine holding a tube of toothpaste and trying to squeeze out the toothpaste, but you squeeze from the bottom, you squeeze from the top, then you squeeze from the middle. And sometimes it can actually feel like spasms like that. And it's very uncomfortable. But that also is just like not an effective way to move food along. And what will happen is your food that you're moving through the digestive tract, along with the bacteria that just hangs out naturally there and the yeast colonies, they will start to overgrow because they're not moving along they're not getting pushed along and moved on to the next section of the process. And so there's basically just like a rotting effect that will happen. That's one way that Candida can overgrow. Very, very important concept. Candida is in everybody. It's in me right now, Allison Jordan. It's in my body. It's in everybody's body on the planet. Candida is what we consider commensal, meaning it actually works with our body to do good things for us. The issue is when it's overgrown. Why does it get overgrown? It's because of the other root causes. So you can do protocols where you're basically removing the overgrowth in a short period of time, what I would call temporarily. But if you don't get rid of the root causes of why it keeps overgrowing, it's just going to keep overgrowing again, like a crazy mint plant. I hear mint from my sister. I hear mint is basically like a weed. So that is slow motility. And the way these things are not hard to deal with in terms of like, you can very quickly kind of systematically go through these things and get rid of them and address them and figure out why you have them And that's what I do inside of our process, the Better Belly Blueprint. It's just an amazing way to systematically and quickly test and analyze your test results, and then treat and put together a customized protocol based on your unique results. So number 3 for Candida is mold. Mold gets its own category, and here's why. Mold and Candida are in a similar family. They're in a fungal yeast family. So if you are being exposed to mold in your environment, then via breathing is the most common way that we're thinking here. When you breathe, the mold gets into your mucus of your sinuses, and then we all naturally swallow mucus from our sinuses down the back of our throat. We definitely swallow more if there's more mucus production, which there often is when there's an irritant like mold present. So just think you might not even realize it, but you might be having more snot, essentially, being produced in your sinus cavities. It's the mold and mycotoxins, or mold spores, which is like the leaf of the mold, and then mycotoxins, which is like the pollen of a mold plant or a mold colony. They get into your sinuses, and then you swallow it, and all of that goes into your gut. And so it's not bad that you're swallowing mucus. It's bad that you're swallowing mucus that has mold in it. And so mold will happen, and we don't fully understand all the mechanisms as science, but there's kind of 2 main theories. Number 1 is that mold upregulates the fungal biome in your body, meaning all the things that are fungal and yeast in nature, because you don't just have a microbiome, you have a fungal biome. You have both in your body, even when you're healthy, because Candida is part of the fungus family. But something about mold it just helps, it enables fungal colonies in your body that are even naturally there, like Candida. It enables them to become hyperdominant, more dominant than they should be. And that's the first theory. The second theory of why Candida overgrows when there's mold present in the gut is that it's trying to fight back. It's trying to say there's an aggressor. These are really aggressive, things and highly toxic to the body. We want to overcrowd and crowd out the mold, and so the Candida levels will elevate. Both are really fascinating, but whichever one is true, or if it's neither of those and something else, it's true that we are seeing that Candida overgrowth is connected to the presence of mold. It doesn't always mean you have it. You might not have toxic mold exposure, but if you have Candida, you always want to be doing due diligence about analyzing for toxic mold exposure. And I say that due diligence because the testing that you have available, the best testing for mold, there's possibilities for there to be false negatives. And we teach you how to analyze it. I teach you in the Better Belly Blueprint program in our analysis videos for labs, where you learn how to analyze your own videos. I teach you what are some of the signs and signals of a false negative for mold, particularly on what we call the organic acids test. All right, so that is mold for you guys. Number 3, just its own category, and it is its own root cause. Underneath, like if we're thinking deeper about mold, like is there any rootier root cause to mold? We're just going to be thinking about the environment. Like, where did you get exposed? Is it current or past exposure? And everyone wants to think it's past, but to get the best results, if you really want your Candida overgrowth to go away and stay away, you need to assume it's present exposure until it's, guilty until proven innocent. It's the opposite from the American legal system. So theoretically, guilty until proven innocent. And so again, I actually have a whole podcast series on mold. And do I have the number written here? Yes. Episode 220 is the beginning of our first mold series. And it's like 100 symptoms of mold exposure. Very interesting if you want to listen to that episode from the perspective of like listening for your own symptoms in the list of 100 symptoms. It is 100. And I organize them all by like different systems of the body, like the gut or hormones or brain or skin. But that episode 220 then starts I think it's like an 8 or 9 series episode series on mold. And I talk through a lot more things on like how to test for mold and my three-step mold treatment process. It's all close to that episode 220. So highly recommend that if that's something you want to learn more about. And again, it's something we teach about in the Better Belly Blueprint. You don't have to like go and piece it all together. We teach you what labs you need to order. We give you give you the ability to order them at near wholesale price. And then we teach you how to analyze them and then give you protocol templates that you modify to know how that are based on your unique lab results. Number 4 is going to be other pathogens. And yes, I could have put mold underneath pathogens, but mold is so aggressive on its own. I really wanted to draw it out. But other pathogens, we're going to be thinking like H. pylori. If you've never heard of it, it's a bacteria that hangs out in your stomach and it loves stomach acid and it tends to lower stomach acid. So there is a connection over here. There is a connection with H. pylori potentially being a root cause for low stomach acid. Other pathogens can include things like C. diff, Clostridia difficile. It can include parasites. It can include Lyme and Epstein-Barr virus. But what happens with pathogens, the reason pathogens are a root cause is because they burden the body with other, what I call bigger pathogens that are like bullies. They are more immunologically dominant. And so Candida, which is already present, might start to misbehave or act out or overgrow. Again, we possibly for reasons of protecting the body, like, ooh, there's a parasite present, and possibly as part of the general dysfunction of like there's parasites, you're becoming anemic, your body's getting weaker, your basically natural gardening of your gut goes down. And so your Candida just naturally overgrows because it's not getting weed whacked by your body's immune system. So that's one possibility. So you just want to test. You want to test for all those things. And then, of course, do relevant treatment protocols, which unfortunately I do see a lot of treatment protocols when someone said, well, my H. pylori protocol didn't work. And I look at it and it's like mastic gum and biocidin or something. I'm like, mastic gum is not, it's not a sufficient treatment for H. pylori. I just see really wonky stuff out there. So unfortunately protocols can be too weak, but a lot of times I get DMs and emails and someone will say, can you just send me your H. pylori protocol or your C. diff protocol? I just want to know what it is. And the issue with that is that I never successfully treated someone just giving them one protocol for one pathogen, because by the time you are having like a chronic long-term illness where the symptoms keep coming back when you're done with your protocols, or one change is not enough to get rid of it, like changing your diet or doing a supplement protocol, the issue is that there's layers. So I'm undercutting and you're undercutting yourself by saying, well, I just need the right C. diff protocol because Allison said my first one was probably too weak. Yeah, it might have been. But C. diff is not the only thing you're dealing with at this point. So we don't share individual protocols because of that, because I'm basically setting you up to fail, and that does not feel like high integrity to me. All right, so that's number 4. And number 5 is, I'm looking at this. Okay, number 5 is food sensitivities. So there are permanent food sensitivities and there are temporary food sensitivities. And most tests do not show that. And I've just noticed that you guys can't fully see it. Just how the screen got cut off. Right, you can kind of start to see the permanent and the temporary. And most food sensitivity tests don't show permanent food sensitivities, interestingly enough. So that was one of the big aha moments when I was actually a practitioner for several years, was learning that tests like MRT, Viome, Tiny Health, they only test for temporary food sensitivities, meaning that the reason they can change on, like if you do 2 tiny health tests a year apart, they're going to look totally different. If you do 2 MRTs, if you do 2 Vioms, I don't know if there's only one test I know of that doesn't do that. And it's called the Zoomer tests or food Zoomers. And we do a Zoomer bundle, meaning we do like a bunch of them for a massively discounted price in our program. And it also comes with testing that looks at your temporary food sensitivities too. So this has been a huge game changer for me and for many of my clients, because there's a lot of food sensitivities you can miss when you are testing in the wrong way. Essentially, when you're only looking at temporary food sensitivities, it literally is looking at a different part of your immune system than permanent ones. And so permanent food sensitivities, it's like if one's the police and one's the FBI, they both are designed to help protect you to a certain extent and in different ways. But if you're only asking the police, hey, like what bad guys are you looking out for these days? You're not getting anything that the FBI are thinking about. And they look at 2 totally different types of criminal activity. So you really want testing that looks at your full immune system picture. And I talk about that. If you want to know more about that test, the food Zoomers, go look at episode 267 on the podcast or look in the show notes. So that is it. And I think I realized I didn't number everything correctly here because I have one more. I'm just going to do it over here at the bottom, which is number 6. The last thing that can really be a driver for Candida is poor detox. And we're thinking liver in particular. And what will happen is your liver gets really loaded with toxins, not just from Candida, but think from maybe H. pylori or parasites, mold, all the inflammation markers from food sensitivities you're still eating that you don't know you're sensitive to. That happened to me. I thought I was not sensitive to corn and rice. I was gluten-free, so I was eating a ton of corn and rice, and I was super sensitive to it. You're having issues with other pathogens or other toxins like copper or things that aren't even on this map yet, because that is very possible. Even if you have Candida, it doesn't mean it's the only, and you're looking at all these root causes, it doesn't mean that these are the only root causes you need to be looking at. And we'll get into that with further episodes. But if your liver's really burdened with all these toxins from all these other things, a couple things happen. Number one, it doesn't produce good bile. So we're having low bile production or thick bile, and meaning not lots coming out. It's kind of sludgy. And bile is one of the natural ways your body cuts down on Candida. It's part of the natural like killing agents of Candida. So now you have low stomach acid and low bile, and Candida is just going to go crazy. Another big issue with poor detox is that you're leaving markers in the body that can actually encourage Candida overgrowth or kind of work with it. So potentially going to have higher histamine levels, potentially going to not detox copper as well. These things can really drive Candida or be kind of fuel for the fire for it. So simply, you can do a liver detox protocol to just help short-term the liver and do some maintenance on the liver to help it detox. We teach you techniques on how to improve your bile flow and bile production and bile health in our program. But the big thing to take away from that is don't just think, oh, I'm just going to take ox bile, or I'm going to take basically digestive enzymes as a supplement. You will never take enough digestive enzymes as a supplement to kill Candida or keep it away. What you really want to do is get rid of the barriers of why your liver's so burdened, why your bile isn't getting into your digestive tract. And so we help you do that in our program. Just because, and I don't really want to get into it, mainly not to keep information back from you guys, but because there's so many details, and it would just make this episode way longer than it already is. So I get this question all the time, so I'm going to add it into all these episodes, which is what tests do I do? What tests do I do? You're going to be looking at the GI map. It's a stool-based test, HTMA, and the Zoomer tests. So the Zoomer is the food sensitivity tests. The GM-app, and I missed the oat. The GM-app and the oat are going to inform you on the pathogens and the mold. And then the HTMA is relevant to slow motility, which we're going to get into tomorrow. And HTMA is also really relevant to low stomach acid. And there's no really test that I really do for liver health. I just have everyone do a liver protocol as a base protocol before they work. And then that gets into questions that people like to ask, which is like, what protocols should I be doing? I have what I call vitality protocols, which you do first. They are things like digestion, nutrients, because a lot of our clients are nutrient deficient, and then leaky gut, basically to reduce inflammation really fast so your gut lining can start to heal. And then pathogen protocols happen after you've been on those for a while. That's really important. I have found that when that doesn't happen that way, if you just jump into the pathogen protocols, a lot of times your body's not strong enough to work with the herbs and the supplements to get rid of stuff. And then number 3 is things like restoring your ability to have like stomach acid. So we have a stomach acid protocol. Sometimes there might be a copper protocol that's relevant if you have copper toxicity. And we do all of this. We teach you how to do all of this in like a 3 to 6 month window, depending on what you have. You can finish it in a 3 to 6 month window and get really long-term fast relief from these things. And when I say 3 to 6 months, I mean like you're off your supplements at the end of this time window and you're off of your temporary food restrictions. The time it takes to improve is anywhere like to see some improvement. We have clients see improvement in as low as 3 days. And we like just any improvement in as low as 3 days. And so just wild and awesome things that we see there. But yeah, you can join the program now, the Better Belly Blueprint. There's no wait list. You can join now at the most affordable rate that I know of to work with any practitioner and get amazing testing and healing. Just go to betterbellytherapies.com/blueprint and you can get all this information. Or again, subscribe and hang out for our stomach acid and slow motility podcast episodes because they're going to be awesome. But, oh yeah, and I've recorded this and they're going to be first. So just go listen to those episodes because they're already out because I changed my mind when we're releasing this podcast episode live while recording. That is it. I hope you guys loved today's episode and I will see you on our next Real Root Cause podcast episode.
Hey friend, I hope you loved this episode. If you've been a fan for a while or newly loving this podcast, can you do me a favor? Drop into Apple Podcasts and leave me a review. When you leave a review, you do so much. You help me know you're listening, you can tell me what you're loving so I know what to make more of, and you help others by boosting this podcast so other people like you can find the podcast too. I mean, it's a win-win-win, right? So if you want a way to pay it forward, just go to Apple Podcasts or click the link in my show notes and leave a rating and review. And if you want some more free stuff, just head over to my free Facebook group, betterbellytherapies.com/Facebook, and you can get access to all of my free support for you, including some Facebook group exclusive stuff like my podcast episode vault, where you can search the Better Belly podcast by topic and find exactly what you need to expedite your healing. I cannot wait to see you in there. Catch you guys next week.